As many businesses across Northamptonshire and Milton Keynes welcome back staff from the furlough scheme and in some cases open their doors for the very first time since the middle of March, we're looking to speak to two experts for advice on insurance and fire safety. And I'm delighted to welcome Sean Cassie from Towergate Insurance Brokers and Dan Folgate from Folgate Safety.
Hello.
Thank you for both joining me. Dan, I'd like to start off with you first. What advice can you give business owners locally that are literally opening their doors for the first time since the middle of March from a fire safety perspective?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Fire safety law starts with a fire risk assessment, and you'll hear this term risk assessment daily in the health and safety industry. When it comes to a fire risk assessment, it's a slightly different process you go through. One of the most important things in a fire risk assessment is to identify any lone working or people working in isolation. You also look at your escape routes, sources of ignition, sources of fuel, make sure doors aren't propped open, things like that. And you must absolutely start with the fire risk assessment. That's your central piece of legislation that pulls in various different aspects of fire safety.
And typically, fire risk assessments, are they annual assessments that should be carried out by businesses?
Yeah, so it depends on the risk level. It's a bit of a grey area depending on your sector. It's quite generically industry standard to be once a year in a kind of low tolerable risk environment. But the correct way of looking at it is on any significant change of risk, occupancy or use of the building. And also there'll be a change in occupancy and use of the building following coronavirus restrictions, spacing of people, the orientations of desks. Then people will be more at risk.
Yeah, I was talking to the guys at ACS Office Solutions, and they were talking about the creativity element now for businesses, that they have to be creative with their workspace in terms of reorganising different departments, etc. So with that in mind, businesses really should be considering or actually actioning a fire risk assessment to welcome back staff.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of legislation is pointing towards businesses undertaking their own fire risk assessments, providing you with somebody with the right experience and training within your company. Some businesses, large organisations, will have a fire safety manager or a health safety manager within their company that would need to review their own assessments. But quite often you need to have a company like ourselves come in to assess you or review your previous assessment. It doesn't always need to be a brand new assessment. Just reviewing that previous assessment is sort of where you need to start, really. And then when you do come back to work, check your fire alarm panel has got a little green light on it. Check the battery hasn't gone flat, as the batteries will only last a couple of days. If you had any problems with your fire alarm panel, if the building's been vacant for months, you won't know the battery's flat. If there's any amber lights, any red lights, or any other colour lights on a fire alarm panel, that's a problem, and you need to call a company like Folgate Safety out to have a look. It's just have one light that's a green light that says power. It's the only thing that should be on your fire panel.
Okay, Dan, thank you for that. I want to introduce Sean now, a bit of a tenuous link. Sean, insurance, we all need insurance. All different types of insurance, and we've spoken on a number of occasions with yourself and Ryan around the importance of having the right insurance for the right business. What advice can you give business owners that have perhaps had a vacant building, or maybe their building is still going to be vacant for the months ahead? What advice can you give business owners on from an insurance perspective?
I think what everyone needs to bear in mind is an insurance policy is a contract between you and the insurance company, and it's based on a series of representations. So you'll make representations about fire risk assessments and fire safety, like Dan mentioned, your business activities, the occupancy of your premises, your security, and the risk is written based on all that information. Now, COVID has made quite a significant change to, if not one, all of those areas within your business. So now you have a duty to keep your broker updated, and also in turn keep your insurance company updated if things have significantly changed within your business. So during the first 3 months of lockdown, most insurance companies were quite accommodating of an occupied property. They recognised that people were working from home, people were having to work differently. And for the most part, it does depend on each insurer, but for the most part, they extended their occupancy condition and said, as long as you're visiting the premises once a week, as long as you're maintaining your fire system, as long as you're maintaining your security system, they continue to cover the property as was, no additional premium. Now, as we're emerging from the lockdown, what we're generally seeing is insurers are starting to become a little bit more stringent on their occupancy clauses. They want to know if you could occupy the premises again, why you're not doing so, what mitigation you've got in place in terms of risk on everything that we've touched on already. And I think the whole point is about keeping your insurer and keeping your broker updated if your risk and your business is still fundamentally different to what it was when you first signed up to the contract. So
in summary, it's probably well worth all business owners looking at their insurance policies. Don't be afraid, it's not like the premium is going to go up, but making sure you've got the right policy for how your business is now.
That's exactly it, because we've seen it, you know, on quite a fundamental level, whether it's business activity. So we're seeing quite a lot of breweries who are now adapting to produce hand sanitizer, for example, or people who have diversified from what they were doing and now they're producing masks or respirators and all this, you know, NHS medical equipment, which is great, but the insurer does need to know if you're fundamentally changing what you're doing in a business to something that's different. Just because in the worst case scenario, if the claim happens, it's better that they've been informed and your policy's been changed to accommodate that.
Thanks, Sian. So in summary, if you're a business owner in Northamptonshire or Milton Keynes, reach out to your insurance broker or have a chat with Sian at Towergate, reach out to your fire safety company or speak to Dan at Folgate Safety. We've all been through a torrid time over this last 4 or 5 months. The last thing any business owner wants is to have an issue with insurance or indeed fire safety for employees and customers. So on behalf of everybody at All Things Business, Dan, thank you very much for your time, and Sian, thank you for your time. We'll put your details up here just in case you do want to connect you on LinkedIn or reach out to you on email or phone. And yeah, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.